Thank you, Peter. Your Excellencies, colleagues, members of Parliament, it's my singular honor to welcome you to the Parliament of Uganda, particularly to the Department of the Leader of the Opposition. We did invite a few colleagues to join us in this interaction so that we can ably represent the different shades of the opposition. We are 6 parties in the opposition in Parliament. We have the NUP, the leading opposition party, hardly a year old. We have the FDC, the second biggest party, then the Democratic Party, DP, then Uganda People's Congress, UPC, to which my dear sister here is whip. Then we do have PPP, is a single member party, the People's Progressive Party. Justice Forum too has a single member. So we are a 6-member platform of the opposition, to which I am privileged to be the leader. I've been in office for close to 120 days, and I want to welcome you, Excellencies. I wish to extend my gratitude to you on behalf of the opposition for sparing time for this meeting. I understand you had intended to have this interaction some time back, but for some reason we agreed to this adjustment. And on behalf of the Shadow Cabinet and the entire opposition in the House, we are very grateful for your support that you render to Uganda in our various endeavors. Your contributions towards the cause of vaccination against COVID-19 is well recognized and appreciated in the country. Efforts for entrenching good governance, democracy and rule of law that have bedeviled this country are highly appreciated. Your support to refugee hosting communities, causes such as climate change, the improvement of our socio-economic infrastructure, food security in the country are highly appreciated. Certainly this support you render comes to plunge very huge gaps in our endeavors towards service delivery, and we can't take it lightly. As the opposition, it's our constitutional duty and obligation under the laws of the land to push for improvements in service delivery and accountability. And this cannot be abdicated or delegated, so we take it seriously. And the theme under which we operate in the 9th Parliament is accountability and service, because we are alive to the fact that however much you want to deliver without bearing in mind the need to be accountable, along the way you lose so much. The absence of accountability compromises not just the quality but even the depth and reach of service delivery. In August, we launched our legislative agenda, a form of pathway we intend to follow, a guide over the next couple of years, because for the 5-year term we shall be here, a lot of things happen, and we may not have occasion and time and resources to attend to every other little thing, not because any of them are any less important, but because we must at any one time prioritize. We must pick out the kind of issues that have backward and forward linkages to what we need to achieve going forward. We have shared with you that small booklet entitled The Opposition Legislative Agenda 2021-2026. It real houses the key issues that will guide the opposition programs for the next coming month. Key of them is our constitutional and electoral reforms that are being targeted, because we believe that if we fix some of the outstanding constitutional questions, electoral challenges, we probably can go a long way in reshaping our young democracy. For those of you, should I say, who are lucky or unlucky to witness our last violent election, probably could see the nature of gaps that we do have in our attempt to democratize. It's not entirely for the absence of attendant legislation, but our sense is that some of the laws have gaps, and it's our quest over the coming month to try and figure out how best we can bring the ruling party on table to rethink the future of this country away from their desire to rule till eternity. They may end up with nobody to rule over if we do not think through the way they consider the duty to be the leading party in the country. And we are going to make propositions over a plethora of issues that relate to our constitution. We believe there are citizens out there that are alienated from the political process. It is also our view that representation in Parliament is based on shaky ground. We seem to be reviewed. So this is going to constitute part of our wide-ranging issues to constitute constitutional and electoral reforms that we can bring to bear and bring the country to deliberate and have a candid conversation about these constitutional and electoral gaps, including engaging the ruling party to empower the electoral commission so that does not remain a paper tiger and will fail to regulate and take care of their responsibilities before, during, and after elections. That our elections don't turn out to be a huge farce. We also are considering a number of issues. We believe that part of what is compromising service delivery is the way power is shared and obligations and duties are distributed in the country. We are running under decentralization, but our decentralization system is fast crumbling. And we believe part of the reason is that there is no entrenched constitutional obligation that really obliges the ruling party to devolve resources to the districts to be able to undertake particular duties. So we want an open and honest conversation about devolution of powers. You probably, like citizens, are watching lately that the current arrangement is toward centralization as opposed to decentralization. A number of disturbing developments lately. We have seen the president is busy awarding contracts at press conferences with circulars and leaflets. We believe these are retrogressive developments, and we need to have a conversation about these and what can be done. If the president is scared of his surroundings and he's going to be rescued, we need to evolve a legal framework that can guarantee citizens in participating and allowing the president to attend to other national obligations other than awarding contracts for roads, for schools, and other trinkets. Remember, we are touting a private sector-led economy, and there's no way you're going to do that when you're awarding contracts centrally. That compromises the entire arrangement of entrenching the private sector. The private sector is highly dependent on what government spends on. And if you're going to compromise that by centralizing particular undertakings of government, then you have a problem. So we're also equally concerned about our health care system. And of course, we all know how COVID-19 has exposed us badly. And I was part of the 10th Parliament, and we deliberated and passed the National Health Insurance Bill. Unfortunately, the President did not assent to this bill to become law. And it's one of the bills that fell flat when the Speaker did decree that all legislation that were not assented to had to be retabled. And so we are going to work backwards. Part of what we're going to really put effort on, because even the shape in which that bill was passed hitherto, some of us has serious gaps, because it does not bring out the commitment of government to finance healthcare. It's going to be a very serious matter to which we're going to devote energy and resources and time, to invite colleagues from across the aisle to appreciate that we need to review this bill so that we can extract commitment of government on health care, because our take is that you cannot commoditize health care. The government must come out clearly on a firm commitment. The bill as passed by the 10th Parliament has gaps, and probably by being returned to the House, we're going to redo a few other things. So it's one of the issues. The other key challenge is education. We have already started working on a number of documents to review our education system. It's very porous, which is why it can't even survive COVID. The country is really in anticipation of what will happen. Every day we get pronouncements on education, and it's a bit worrying as to what will happen to our children. And we want a few things to be reviewed, including legislation on funding education infrastructure, teacher motivation. There are views that probably science teachers should be paid more than the arts teachers. That conversation is inconclusive, and to some of us it's highly diversionary. There are other key issues we want to table for discussion by Parliament to be given priority in education, because whereas access is heralded as highly improving, we are missing out on a big picture of dropouts. Children entering from one gate and then exiting on another gate. So we need to arrest these outstanding issues in our system, and we are going to take interest as the opposition in how we plug these holes in our education system. We are here because the EU and others are development partners, but we don't think, as the opposition, that it is sustainable for us to always be looking at the EU and others for sustaining the economy. A lot has to be done by ourselves to improve our domestic revenue mobilization, and there are issues we are looking at. 3 weeks back to be particular, the government tabled its fiscal charter, the Charter of Fiscal Responsibility, which we reviewed as the opposition and found very wanting. Last week, we tabled the alternative in Parliament, and we want this to be reviewed by the Committee of Parliament. We believe the commitment to raise more domestic revenue is very wobbly, and we want government to rethink. There's still thinking that this economy is going to be sustained by borrowing, and we can see a threat of sustainability when we borrow endlessly. Of course, the other issues we're going to look at. The environment is very dear to us. Media freedom, the diminishing civic space is a huge concern, and my team, the shadow team, is working on a number of documents we want Parliament to discuss and review so that we are able to bring the country to a conversation about the dangers of the diminishing civic space and an overbearing regulator for the media that had the tendency of making the media go into self-censorship. And at the end of the day, that will compromise the gains we have made in media freedom. Certainly, going forward, we would also look at other legislations, mineral licensing legislations, consumer legislations, anti-competition legislations are targeted. Once we are settled and have this document properly filtered into legislatable instruments, we should be able to come better. Otherwise, we appreciate you and look forward to sharing with you our thoughts on a number of issues on democracy and governance and human rights and other issues.